Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just a little under 2 months away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and even creator George Lucas, that is all set and ready to end the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you are very well aware that a lot of reshoots took place, the past couple of months, give or take, readjusting many elements of the second and third acts of the movie surrounding many of the major characters like Rey, Kylo, Luke, Palpatine, etc., and among others as well, in this story that's going to wrap up the entire saga together that started back in 1977. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Episode 9 is actually going to be the darkest Star Wars film there is. At least that's what J.J. Abrams is aiming to do when it comes to this movie, involving the characters of Rey, Kylo, and Palpatine and their story. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and one aspect that is rather unfortunate about the storytelling of Episode 9 has all to do with what was actually done through reshoots for this movie by director J.J. Abrams. Now, specifically, it's described that during the reshoots of the film for the months of August, September, and now October, that many changes were made to the second and third acts of the film in order to adjust many of the scenes for the final version of the movie. Now, it's explained that one of the major scenes that were completely cut from the film involved a scene between both Yoda and Luke's Force Ghost inside of the Lost City, where they would be talking about Rey's training as a Jedi. It's explained that originally the scene would involve both Luke and Yoda exchanging their philosophies of the Force and what to do with Rey and how her training should be done. That was originally all said to have taken place within the Prime Jedi Temple and was said to be a crucial part to Rey's training that would bring her on the right path after trying to communicate with the Jedi of the past and being successful. It said that the scene was cut and replaced with a moment where it would involve Rey talking only with Luke as opposed to Luke and Yoda having a discussion in private about Rey and how Luke fears about her bloodline. It's said to be a sequence that Yoda tells Luke that becoming a Jedi has nothing to do with your genes, but your instinct and free of will, and reminds Luke of how he became a Jedi regardless of his father being Darth Vader. The Luke and Yoda scene was supposed to tease that Rey's bloodline is connected to something evil, where the scene was actually cut to save screen time for more private scenes between both Luke and Rey. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and as to why I believe that this would have been a better sequence than what we are actually set to get in the final cut of Episode 9. So the sequence between both Luke and Yoda's Force Ghost talking to each other about Rey's bloodline and how Luke fears exactly who she is connected to was actually cut from the movie during the reshoots of this movie for the months of August, September, and now October. So obviously you can already tell that a lot of adjustments to this movie have been changed for the second and third acts of Episode 9, and this was actually said to be a scene that would be crucial to the plot of Rey's character development and her connection to Palpatine and or an evil bloodline, if you will, that was going to be teased by both Luke and Yoda. Now, what I like about this particular scene that almost made it to the final cut of the movie within the Prime Jedi Temple is that this was actually said to be a sequence where both Luke and Yoda are talking in private, where Rey is actually said to be in another location of the Lost City. So this was all said to be done within the Prime Jedi Temple. In case you guys have no idea who in the world the Prime Jedi really is, the Prime Jedi is actually said to be the first of the Order. If you guys read the Last Jedi novelization and of course the visual dictionary, you will learn that the Prime Jedi was believed to be the first of the Order. So the first Jedi of the Jedi Order as we know it. Now, with that being said, this particular moment that was cut from the film that involved both Mark Hamill and Frank Oz was actually going to have them as Force Ghosts pretty much exchanging their philosophies about the Force and how Luke fears Rey's bloodline and how Yoda reassures Luke that becoming a Jedi has nothing to do with your genes, but rather your free will and your own instinct. And that's a very good point because Yoda reassures Luke that, you came from your own father who became Darth Vader, and look at you now. You're a successful Jedi, you are a person who has taught Rey all these different, philosophies in between the events of course, Episodes 8 and 9 that will be explained in future canon in 2020, by the way. So that is a very good point by Yoda, and it would have been a very inspirational scene in my point of view to be thrown into episode 9. This was actually cut in order to save screen time and among other reasons as well. I believe the other reason was because they already had a Luke and Yoda scene kind of talking about Rey in The Last Jedi, so they probably felt like, oh, it was already done, why do it again? And let's just separate those scenes into something else between more private sequences of both Luke and Rey talking about her bloodline and this darkness rising within her. And that's another thing about this film, is that there will be a darkness rising within Rey that's going to lead to her connection with Palpatine at the very end of episode 9. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.